Hi, I am Viljami Lappalainen and this is my blog. I was inspired to continue my previous night's video about, well, idea of souls by continuing on theme of choice. It's in middle of night I woke up, but so essence of choice I think is most salient thing I wanted to talk about. I started on it in previous video talking about how being alive is in some sense possibility of choosing what is the most meaningful. Sort of way of hmm, that you choose in some sense how your life gains meaning through your actions in the world. I I commented on how different lives that have different reference groups are sort of different messages in a way of what you want your life to mean. Like that, if you are sort of committed to, say, for a nation, country, uh, then that is different kind of message than dedicating your life to a field of science, for example, or journalism or art. But I wanted to comment that I think that using a money for donations, for example, giving money to good causes, whatever they might be they saving turtles on distant shores or promoting mathematics or health, UNICEF or WWF or any number of causes that people feel themselves are important are another way of sort of expressing yourself in the world. I mean, it is not obvious to me how to quite sort of measure such things, but I mean, I often like to think for myself about meaningful, sustainable, and effective human lives in a way that they have to feel like they make sense to people and that they want to live it, to be to live in a way that others can live that way too, and that it can be upheld indefinitely, and that lifestyle also has effect on the world. That sort of basic unit, I think, for having impact on the world. How can people live that? Now, I mean, if you change the world in a way that allows other people to have sort of lifetimes of lives that are meaningful and effective in a way, and that is sort of a pretty nice scorecard, I think. And we have to create them ourselves. Choose what it is that we want, how we want our lives to gain meaning through. Oh, it's quite early still. Hmm. Okay, so that was the essence in a way from previous video that I mentioned how we express with our lives as act, arbitrary actions we make in lives that have complex meanings. How, what kind of meanings we want our lives to have. And that also means that I think we have to sort of create these scorecards, like I mentioned earlier, like that I like to. So, so another one is that is it possible for other people to live functionally in a way that according to some particular way of life, in sense that if I want to support an say environmentally friendly uh, charity, then I might ask about my monthly donations. How many people could live on my donations? I, doing that kind of work, assuming others in somehow similar situations like me would do the same. I mean, it seems to me that it is a reasonable way to ask the question in some sense that because I mean, if I'm extremely fortunate, mm, then I mean, it is very easy for me to give money to charity. But in some senses, it also loses some meaning because I mean, very few people are in that kind of situations. But if the reference group I am in, where I act, is that they are just common people just like me, then I think it symbolically gains more meaning to give to charity when your acts, if they were done like other people's, would mean as sort of then then they would be more widespread. So I think that when we talk about giving money to causes, that it is very useful to think about uh, how unique situation I am in. Hmm. Yeah, okay, so that was one thing I want to talk about. Essentially, it was just that I want to talk about my, meanings our lives came through our actions, and how we can use money to reflect that. So, and how different situations in life can affect the meaning, at least how I think it can affect it. But there's still that I think we ourselves have to choose our meanings in our lives, what we want them to mean. And our actions are way we communicate that. What is meaningful reference, sort of scorecard we want there to be. Hmm. But oh, another thing was that I think it is deeply important there to be choice, that we understand we are making choices and we are knowledgeable about different choices. I mean, that's actually something where I think people should be sort of adults before committing to any particular religion. I mean, uh, and they when people should have good education, because I mean, being raised to a religion robs you of the choice, and that is fundamental problem, I think, because I mean, if life is about being informed and making choices in a way using your possibility for self-expression, and you are partially robbed of it, it is a fundamental evil, which is partially why I find religions problematic in many ways, even though in a way I am trying to start one, but one that feels to have, but it is partially because of these questions that have actually led me to this situation. Because I find, well, I mean, religions themselves, I mean, they can be beneficial, but by committing to any particular metaphysical interpretation of the world, if we say it, that let's say, assuming that there's God, or assuming that there are multiple gods, or assuming there's pantheistic things, and they are problematic. They are limiting options. And in same way, if there are gods, that act on the world, I feel they are harmful for different reasons. Because I think if they are gods and they act on the world, they are inspiring problematic uh, sort of patterns of human behavior, because humans react to fear and terror badly. I mean, how we react might not be from perspective of gods, obviously badly. I mean, it might be just what gods want. But I mean, by bad, I mean harmful for human society. Hmm. So, obviously, I think there are cross purposes in a way that I think we should have a world where humans can express human values and reasons, and that we have spaces for self-expression, that we have to make world in a space in where we have ability to express our values and choices, and that we understand that in a way that that is sort of what is important for me, that humans are able to use words to express themselves, who they are, in a way that but that people need to understand. How are they expressing themselves? So this that is partially why I feel that it is important to have philosophical idea of these arbit spaces for arbitrary choices, because it is also important from point of view of my values to understand what is good when humans can have many different ideas what is good, but being able to express that's important, no matter what kind of essential goodness you think there is in the world. Well, thanks for your time. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.